Welcome, everybody, to episode 86 of A to Z Sports Talk. Kind of feels weird being with Zach this time. I've kind of got used to doing it by myself, and it's good to have somebody to kind of bounce thoughts off of. But Zach is here today.
You've
How
done
you doing, my
good.
man?
I have listened.
I appreciate it.
Every time you talk about LeBron, there's something that I don't agree with. I'm like, dang, I can't yell at you.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I just get really mad at work. But yeah, I'm doing good. Been busy. Obviously haven't been on in a long time. But this past weekend was Mother's Day. Did a ton. My parents came down. Did a lot. But one thing, on Friday we went to a minor league baseball game here, AAA, the Jumbo Shrimp for the Marlins. They played the Orioles minor league team, which was like not Norwich, some town. I don't really know where it is. I think it's in Maryland or something. But one thing to take away from that game is in this AAA league, because minor league baseball is weird, where it's like separate leagues, and so they don't all play each other. It's weird, but they have the system where you can challenge a ball or strike. It's not the automated.
Oh.
It's not the automated strike zone, but you can challenge, which personally, I don't think the fully automated will ever come to major leagues, but I think this system will, because all they do is this is our first time, like, we saw it, so we were like Googling it, and you get 3 challenges for each team. The pitcher, catcher, and batter can initiate it. And if you get it right, you keep it. But if you get it wrong, you lose it. So, like, if they throw it, a batter, if you, like, challenge it, he'll just tap his head. That's how they all do it. They just, like, tap their head. And then they showed on the scoreboard, it takes, like, 8 seconds. They show, like, the ball coming in. It's actually kind of like, what is it? Like, you're waiting, like, tense. Because you're, like, see the ball coming in, you don't know where it's going to land. And then it's, like, a ball or something, and you're, like, cheering. It was kind of cool.
I feel like I have to ask this question because if it ever comes to the MLB, this is going to be the question that everybody's going to be asking, especially higher up. But did it slow down the game at all?
There was only like one inning where it slowed it down a bunch. When it seemed like a lot of pitches in a row, they kept challenging it. But if you get it wrong, like, you're out. So then it speeds it up. But that game was kind of slow anyway because there's a lot of hits. But I kind of liked it. I thought they were really quick. They got it up on the board like instantly. Like, the first one took like 5 seconds. They all didn't take too long at all.
So if it's like a 1-1 count, 1-0 count, and they throw it and they thought it was a ball, whatever. So if it's not 2 strikes though, is like the
you can do it whenever.
The batter's still out.
It could be 0-0, and you could just. Well, it's not. Wait, you said the batter would be out?
Yeah, is that what you said, or is it just
no?
2 strikes on that?
They'll just be like the call's overturned or not. So if it's a ball, or if the ump calls it a strike and the batter challenges it, and then it's still a strike, it's just 0-1.
Okay.
And then you lose. Then you only have 2 challenges left.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the AAA team for down there?
The Marlins.
Who's that? What team? Oh, that's what
Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Very cool.
Were there any prospects? Any big time prospects down there?
Garrett Cooper was on a rehab assignment.
Okay. He's an MLB guy.
They had some guy. Oh, they have. Oh gosh, what's his name? He was a second baseman for. Oh my. The Rays. I know he's like a decent prospect because he always had a potential on MLB The Show. So, all right, let me type in real quick. It's a lot of letters. Type in.
The Marlins. What you said you went this Mother's Day or this weekend?
Friday.
Okay.
So yeah, Mother's Day.
They brought up a big time pitching prospect. The Marlins.
He was in Double-A. Because that day I was like, I wonder if he's in AAA. I knew he was in Double-A, and then like literally the day we went, he made his debut. Yuri Perez. I was like, bad luck. I thought for a second that uh sorry, I'm trying to find their roster. That what's his face? Magnera Sierra. I don't
Oh,
know if he's still with the major league team or with some other team.
where is he now?
He was with the Marlins last year. All right. I'm looking. Okay. Oh, they have Austin Allen, who was on the Cardinals organization last year.
Okay.
He was batting 167, so pretty solid.
Sierra is a Brave now. I didn't know that.
Really.
And he's also 27 years old now. So he's still young enough.
Okay, they don't even have him on the roster. The guy I'm thinking of. All right, I gotta find this guy.
And he was the Rays second baseman.
He was. I don't know why. I was very confused when I saw him. All right,
Interesting.
I'm gonna find
Is
it.
he Hispanic?
I think so.
Very interesting.
Baseman prospect.
I'll cover the time while you're finding it here.
Yeah.
Um, today we have NBA. Since I did the last episode, the only game that's happened since there's only 2 series happening, the Heat and the Celtics. Some MLB talk as we're doing kind of right now anyway. We have our biggest disappointment player and team, and our biggest surprise player and team. The surprise is more on the good side. Like a little preview of the Cardinals 4 game series versus the Dodgers coming up, as the Cardinals have finally turned it around. And then Zach has some PGA Championship golf here at the end
Yeah.
here. But
All right, I found him. Xavier Edwards.
I don't think
Second
I know who that
baseman.
is.
I don't even know if he's like on the top charts anymore. I just looked up top second baseman. He's not even there, but he was with Tampa Bay at one point. I don't know when they got him, but he was with Tampa Bay last year and batted. Yeah, he didn't bat that great, 246, but he's batting
Oh,
306, 316 so far this year. Has no power at all, but he's fast. I just remember one MLB The Show,
interesting. All
which
right.
was how have you been?
I've been good. I've been good actually. I don't want to give it away where, but I've had a couple coaching interviews, so something I could probably tell you off off air.
Tell me off
Um,
air.
yeah, but yeah, I've been good, man. It's nice finally having only a couple classes left where I can focus a lot of
When do
time
you
on getting
graduate?
content. I graduated. I mean, I
You already
technically
graduated?
graduated. I mean, it's difficult. It's tricky because I have like 3 classes, summer
Oh
classes that I'm
yeah.
still taking to finally be done. But my last class in person was 2 weeks ago, I
Oh
guess, or
wow.
yeah, something like that.
Nice.
But yeah. So
You did it.
what I was saying was it's super nice to be able to get content out now
Yeah.
regularly, and it was hard there for a while because you were working and I was busy with school, but it's good to be able to get stuff out. We can
Okay. Okay. I will say, I have to say one more thing about the weekend that was really cool. And then you want to do
yeah.
did you see it? Because I wrote down a lot of stuff. Um,
Oh yeah, I'll let you carry that then. Yeah.
um, we went on Sunday. We went to the Kennedy Space Center, like NASA.
hmm
Crazy. You get to see like a rocket. They have like a because the rocket they shot up for like the moon landing around that space program. They had like an extra one, so they put it in this like whole building. So it's like laying horizontal, and you can like walk under it. It's completely massive. I stared at the engines for about like 5 minutes, um, and then it's just crazy. And then they have the space shuttle, one of the space shuttles, Atlantis. Stared at that for a long time because like it could go up to space repeatedly. So I was just like, it was crazy. Um, Highly
Interesting.
recommend though. It's like a full day thing. We got there like pretty early, and then we left at like 5 in the afternoon. But it is sweet.
It sounded like you have a lot more things to do down there in Jacksonville that we than we have here.
There's a lot of stuff to do in Florida, I will say. And it's we're going to Disney in a couple in June. Um,
Wow.
yeah, me, a big Disney person, never went. There's like well, we're so close to like everything. Like Tampa's only like a 3 hour drive away. Savannah, Georgia's 2 hours. Charleston's like 5. Clemson 6. Orlando's 2 hours. Daytona Beach is an hour. Cape Canaveral, the Space Center, is 2 hours. Miami's pretty far; it's 6 hours, but
Yeah.
everything's pretty close. It's crazy.
Dang. Yes, I'm kind of locked into like a little circle here.
I know.
Like,
I
don't
told
really.
Kaylee,
There's
I'm
not much
like,
to do.
we got to knock out every all our sightseeing in the southeast while we're down here because we're so close.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. Did you see it, Wise? I guess I'm used to not doing it because you're not here, so I didn't have anything. But I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff out there, and you've missed a couple weeks here, so I'm sure you have tons. So what you got?
Yeah, first off, I don't know if you talked about this in one of the, but John Morant, dumb.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Do
Uh,
you think so? There's been different sides. So I heard JJ Redick's um explanation of it, and then I heard like Charles Barkley who responded. Do you think he should be suspended for that?
hmm. I don't know if hmm, it's like back and forth because he technically didn't break like a law, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're under an organization, so they have different standards than
Yep.
like whatever. Honestly, it just is like don't have dumb friends. um,
Seriously.
and just go to a gun range, you know? Just go to a shooting range to shoot your gun. Um,
I
yeah,
think
or just I think this cracked me up. I listened, I don't know what podcast. I think it was part of my take. They said they should have a day. They're like once a month. Get a bunch of people, put them in a room. They all no cell phones, and you can just flash your gun. Just go around, flash your gun all times. You know, get it out of your system. Gun flashing Thursday or something, and just get it all out. Then maybe go to
that's
the gun
funny.
range after,
Yeah.
shoot some targets, and then go get some pizza and call it a day.
Yeah. I don't think the NBA should suspend him because again he didn't break a law technically, but I wouldn't like the Grizzlies have I guess the right to do that if they
Yeah,
feel like it's um I
but
just
all I laugh because um after the first time he did this, they like suspended him, and then he went to Florida for like a day and a half, and he got back. I'm like, oh yeah, he's good now for sure.
I know. Yeah, I mean that's what I was gonna say. Kind of is he keeps giving like this basic apology. I'm learning from my action, and then it's like you do it again. I don't know. But yeah, JJ, I think it was JJ Redick was saying that the league shouldn't suspend him, um, and kind of like ruin his career, ruin his life, whatever. I agree, I guess, with that, but I guess the Grizzlies have the right to do that if they feel
Hmm.
like that's a problem. And I guess that's kind of the point that you were making is they totally have the right to do that.
You know what's crazy is like 'cause I don't know how many games he missed after he did that, but he missed out on like $36 million because he didn't make an All NBA team. So like for the Supermax
Oh,
contract and stuff.
mm-hmm.
So I feel
That's
like
right.
if I was him, I'd be like, ooh, that stings.
Yes, that hurts. That does sting.
Oh
What
yeah.
else you got?
All right, I got. Um, so I think this came out today that NCAA football, the video game, the best video game of all time. They said it will be headlined around Dynasty mode, which bless up.
Yeah.
I hope they have. I'm pumped to do the recruiting. Get those freshmen in every year, get them going. Hopefully they
Mm-hmm.
have a little transfer portal thing. I want it to be as realistic. Maybe you could have like some NIL boosters and like pick some really rich dudes, which
Uh-huh.
also this is a side topic, but when you think about it, NIL, like the main thing was for like the students to kind of make money, but like join like a company to make money. All of them just join
Yeah.
like these like groups, which is just boosters paying them. It's not like they're in
Yep.
with like a real company. But anyway, side topic. I'm very pumped for that game. Hopefully they do it on PS4. If not, that would be very sad for my wallet. Um, and then also they said that actual players can be in the game. Like they can choose, elect, or
uh,
deny to be in the game. So then like their actual face, I don't know if they can do like a face scan for all the players because there's a lot, but or just
yeah,
make it generic and then put their name on it. But yeah, very hyped
I
about
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
That's something I take a lot of importance in is like it doesn't even have to look like them, I
hmm
guess. It just I like having their name instead of just some
Yeah,
random,
I
Bill
agree.
Joe or whatever.
Well,
So
they
are we
used to be
looking
just the
towards like
numbers. They used to just be numbers, but
that's right.
everyone knew what the players was.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we looking towards like 2025? Is that what the or
It's
2024?
supposed to be coming out next year, but it's going to be NCAA Football 2025. So it's like, you know how this year's NBA 2K23, but it came
Yeah.
out in 2022. Because when I first saw it, I was like, wait, hold up. We have to wait
Yeah.
another year for this.
Yeah.
uh,
It seems like they keep pushing it back,
I
but
know,
I mean, it makes
unfortunately.
sense.
All right, next. Um, Speaking kind of golf, watching it right now, but Joel Dahman in a practice round, he was one of the big stars on Netflix Full Swing. Um, he's like the guy where he's just like the chillest golfer, doesn't try too hard, just out there having fun. Like there's a story he qualified for the U.S. Open. He had to go through qualifying for the U.S. Open because he didn't get it based on his like rank, and it was the day before the last day, and he didn't think he was so far behind he didn't think he was gonna make it. So he like that night he just drank a bunch and then ended up playing the next day, shot like a crazy like 7 under or something and made the U.S. Open. It's that kind of guy, but he in a practice round he smoked a guy in the leg with the errant golf shot and then gave him $100 bill and said, "I got your beers today." So that's awesome. And then this news could be kind of relevant to the St. Louis area. Caleb Love decommitted from Michigan. You going to Mizzou or going to SLU? I would say probably Mizzou over SLU, but
I would love SLU. That I'm more of a SLU guy than a Mizzou guy.
yeah,
That would be that would be amazing.
yeah. And then my last one, last but not least, Clemson baseball is ranked 7th in the country. After the beginning of the year, they were awful. So it's kind of crazy. We have a new manager or skipper, as they call him, and we were playing really good. So that's cool.
Wow.
I've not really kept
I
up
didn't
that
know that.
much. I just kind of get, oh, we won, and then all of a sudden it's like we're ranked 7th. I'm like, what?
I've kept up a pretty good amount, but man, it's so hard with college
You
baseball
can't
or
watch it.
college softball. Yeah, you can't watch it
You
unless it's
can't
on like
watch it until
ESPN
like
Plus.
the call it like till the postseason.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's a game, there's like a game every I mean, it's like baseball
hmm
season. So it's like there's a game every day,
It's
which
like
is
Clemson
hard to
softball. They're like 43 and like some crazy record. It's like, let me count the days. When did you start?
I know. I know. Yeah, I talked to an athlete, a softball athlete that I work with, and she was saying how they sometimes play 2 to 3 games in a day,
Mm.
and I'm just because they
Like
play
if they
less
have a
innings,
turn,
I
do
guess.
some tournaments because I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like
so I think that's how
softball
they
you could
make up all those
do that
games.
more because pitching it doesn't hurt your arm as
Yep,
much to go underhand than overhand.
yep. That's exactly what she was saying. Actually, is because I was talking to her about overhand throwing based on or compared to underhand throwing. She said it's not as much strain on your shoulder. Like I can pitch 150 pitches and or 2 times in 3 days and feel okay. That type of
Mm.
deal. So it is interesting. But like I said, I don't have any did you see it's, but we do have a little
Wow,
NBA. There was one game last night and it was kind of a stunner.
I
The Miami
watched the
Heat.
last 8 minutes of it. Look at me.
That I'm very proud of you actually.
I watched the Cardinal game
Very
because I'm a real fan, unlike you know. And then I watched the basketball game.
so I'm sure you saw Jimmy Butler just take over again. I mean, the
Yeah,
dude is a different
He
breed.
is the shooter's
Um,
touch. Watched him
yes.
basketball bounce off the rim like 30 times, then go in for three.
Yep. Yep. I don't know what it is, but I don't have trust in Jason Tatum. And he didn't even take a shot attempt in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, because he kept
And I'm
traveling. It was pissing me off.
yeah,
He
he had like
kept
three turnovers in 2 minutes or whatever.
disclaimer: we love Jason Tatum from the Lou. Hope he does great and wins. Except AJ, because he picked the Heat. But I hope he
Yeah.
wins. Um, oh my God, I was getting so frustrated because he just like these are the times when sometimes I don't like the NBA is when it gets to these late games and the stars like just like running like right behind whoever's the ball, like give me the ball, and then they try to go
Hmm. Yeah.
hero
I know what you
ball,
mean. Hmm.
which he tried to do 3 possessions in a row and turn it over every single time. Just play your offense. You got so many good offensive players. Jaylen Brown,
Oh, yeah.
Malcolm Brogdon, beast, super underrated. Marcus Smart hits a three, not that often, but every once in a while.
The thing
um,
is with Tatum is, yeah, especially with the Celtics, they always, even no matter what he's doing the first three quarters, they treat him like the number one guy, which I agree he is the number one guy, but they
yeah.
treat him like they don't have any other options. Like
Hmm.
give the ball to Jaylen Brown and let him create,
Yeah.
or like you said, Brogdon, or
Personally, what I would
like they,
do is whoever Jimmy Butler is not guarding, I'd let them go
yeah,
to work.
yeah. Um, I think what hurt is that he had 3 points going into the fourth quarter against Philly in game six, maybe.
Hmm.
And he scored like 16 or 18 in the
Yeah.
fourth quarter and went crazy. And then now it's like, well, you saw him do that, and I feel like they're kind of just riding that and just going to continue to
Like he
give it
can
to him,
do
which
it. It's just
sure,
he always seems to have those games where he just can't get a bucket. Like he shot 9 for
I
17,
know.
which is like over 50%. But I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just the turnovers, just going too fast.
Yep.
Just calm down, take a breath.
My biggest point of this series was that I thought Bam Adebayo was going to be the game changer. I said that on Wednesday's episode. And
Yeah, I need to address that.
he
Continue.
last night he had 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. And I know Al Horford did a really good job against Embiid, especially in the last two games last series. I don't know. Embiid's more of an ISO guy most of the time anyway,
Hmm.
sometimes in a pick and roll action. Bam is really good in the pick and roll and also in like a little slip spot in the middle of the lane. He gets a lot of floaters that way. I just feel like it's harder to guard, just body him up. And he's just kind of a freak athlete, which I
Hmm.
thought he was going to be the big difference. What were you gonna what point were you gonna make?
You were like saying he was like he's gonna be down, like he's a stud, but at the same time, Robert Williams and him are both the same height. They're both like 6'8" and are kind of the same
Yeah.
thing. Just Williams isn't as good offensively.
So I thought about the Robert Williams factor, and they started both of them last night. Um, the only thing with Robert Williams is they don't play him enough. I'm trying to see how many minutes he had last night.
25.
He had
Got the box score up.
25. Okay. You look at some of those Philly games, he played 14 minutes and 19 minutes. I guess the matchup's different. Like it's harder to match up against Embiid than it is maybe Bam. And maybe that's
Yeah.
just maybe he's going to get more minutes because if he's
I
sitting
guess
25
his
to
plus minus
30,
was minus 14, so that's not
mhm.
good.
I really like that stat, but that stat can also be like, I guess, also misleading
Yeah.
because it was true the other night. D'Angelo Russell was minus 25, and he looked all of minus 25. But there's also times when like a star's out there and they're, you know,
Yeah,
but
this is
yeah,
kind of misleading now that I'm looking at this because Jaylen Brown played 38 minutes plus 3. Tatum played 41 minutes minus 10. So I guess those like 3 minute difference, they must have scored a ton of points.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking at that now. That is interesting.
And then all the Heat guys are like plus 10. I guess they did win by 12, so does make sense. I didn't look at the.
So is that a
Or no,
13 point difference then
they won by
in
9.
2 minutes?
No, 7. Yeah.
See, that's a 13 point difference in 2 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems kind of crazy.
I'm not a mathematician, but
Mhm.
doesn't make sense to me.
But no, the Heat win this one, and that's a big win. It's always, I've said it many times, it's always the goal as the away team. You have to split on the road. That's why it's a big game for the Lakers tonight. They really need to split and win game two. The other big news though is the draft lottery occurred, and
Mm,
I'm actually super happy about the result because I think for Victor Wembanyama to, we all know he's going number one, to go to the Spurs, and I know Coach Pop only probably has 2 or 3 years left of coaching, if that. He's a perfect guy to be under.
hmm Yeah. NBA probably rigged. But yeah, did you see well there's a couple things that I saw. Um One, Charlotte has the second pick, and every time they've had the second pick, the guys drafted was Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, all these like stud big guys, which I thought was very funny. Also, it was, oh my God, who was it? It was Chris Bouchard, who's kind of dumb. Uh, his tweet, my
Yeah.
phone just went black, but I gotta find it. Let's see if I can spell his name
Well,
right.
I was gonna talk about what
Chris.
he's. I'll let you announce it, but because it might be the same thing. But he said some wild stuff on TV that I was actually gonna make a point out of too. It's
He's
probably the
kind of
same thing.
dumb.
Yeah, he's got some. I used to like him in high school a lot, and
He was
now it
on.
just
He's
seems
not
like
on ESPN anymore, is he?
he's on FS1 with Nick Wright and some other guy who's the most annoying of the three.
Who? Skip Bayless? No.
Skip is crazy. Skip's on FS1 too. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like sports analysts are. I I loved it. Everybody. I even like Stephen A. in high school, and now I'm getting to the point they're just saying stuff to go viral, or like
Yeah.
every game is a new narrative, or it's just like I don't know.
I will say, well, we're getting very off topic, but I am excited. Pat McAfee's show is going on ESPN. I
Is
don't know
it?
if
I
you've
didn't see
ever
that.
listened to it, but I listened to it like on podcasts because I think they originally were podcasts and then they started doing YouTube Live. And so I listened to it usually the days before because they release it at like 4, but they're pretty
Mhm.
funny.
Hmm.
All right, let's find it. I can do this. I can do this. I can do it.
Was it comparing him to other?
Yeah, it was like if he's not as good as okay,
Mhm.
I have to be close.
The one
It
I
was
saw on. Oh, you
yeah.
got it.
No, not yet. Go ahead.
Well, what I saw on TV, and I was watching it, and he said to Nick Wright, um, if he's not Kareem, if he's not Olajuwon, and if he's not um, who was the
Yeah,
other one?
that's
Maybe
it. I
Shaq.
found it. If Wemby is AD, KD, or Hakeem, that's a disappointment.
That's insane. Like, so there's a he also on television he said he needs to be a Kareem or a Shaq to live up to the hype. And
So
Nick Wright
be
made
one
a
of the
good
greatest
point.
players of all time. No
Exactly.
pressure.
Exactly. No, that's crazy pressure. I think he is the most hyped up sports uh, prospect maybe ever. I haven't heard of a guy that's supposed to
I
be
don't know. LeBron was
Kareem.
pretty hyped up.
LeBron was hyped. Oh, this is what I'll say. I think I said that wrong. I was thinking it and I said it wrong. Not most hyped up. I think LeBron was the most hyped up ever. Wemby's got the most ability of at least a basketball athlete that
hmm
I've ever. I mean, 7'4" and can he
Have
shot and missed a three and then had a put back dunk to his missed three. It's like
yeah.
it's crazy.
I
He's a
saw a
freak.
video of him standing next to Kylian Mbappe, who's 5'10",
Hmm.
and I don't think Wembanyama's 7'5". I think he's like 8 foot. I was like trying to imagine like a foot on top of Mbappe's head, which would made him 5'10", which made him 6'10". So then he'd be like 6 inches taller. And I'm just like imagining. This is weird, but I'm like imagining like a shoe, a 12, like my shoe, because
Oh
my foot's
yeah,
like 12,
yeah.
like on top of his head.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, that's gonna take a couple. He's 8 foot. I think he's lying.
He's an absolute freak. And I was thinking earlier, what's the floor for Wembanyama? I know the ceiling is the best player ever, I guess. That's what people are hyping him up to be. But what's the floor?
Laurie
And
Markkinen.
what are I was thinking Laurie Markkinen actually, or I was thinking like a Kristaps Porzingis.
For a second, I thought you were
Type.
gonna say
And
Dirk, and I was like, that's who Wimpy wants to strive to be. I do
no,
think Wembanyama should be smart and contact Giannis and be like, "Hey, can I lift with you?" Because Giannis used to be skinny
seriously.
like that, and he's
Yeah. Yeah.
shredded.
Yeah. No, the thing with comparing him to Kareem or Olajuwon is there's a one major difference besides them being two of the best ever.
Hmm.
And that is Olajuwon had championship caliber basketball in college at Houston, and Kareem played under John Wooden for 4 years at UCLA.
Hmm.
Wemby's coming from France as an 18-year-old. Like, I don't want it's a lot of pressure.
Hmm.
Like, it's easy for you and I to look at him and say, "Oh, that's a lot of pressure." But when it actually you're that person in that moment, and if you don't succeed right off the bat, you start getting hate and in an era definitely with social media where things can
Yeah.
get out of control. And so I'm glad he's with Pop. That's going to help so much because Pop is, in my opinion, the best coach of all time, especially NBA coach.
Yeah.
Um, but Eric Spoelstra, we have to have that conversation eventually too, because Eric Spoelstra is doing some
He's
crazy
never
things
won a
over there.
Coach of the Year either.
I know. How's
It's
that work?
crazy.
And speaking of coach of the year, before we move on to the MLB, Monty Williams, Budenholzer, Nick Nurse, three championship caliber coaches. Monty are fired now. Monty Williams is the one that drives me the most insane for the Suns
Uh,
because they made a finals run and lost to the Bucks. And then last year they lost in the second round. This year they lost in the second round, and then he got fired. Like he won coach of the year
hmm.
last year.
Yeah,
I feel like that was kind of a short leash.
I think it's so dumb.
On to the MLB though, where the Cardinals I mentioned last episode, we have finally, good lord, finally got something going here. We've won 7 of our last 9. We did win yesterday, big win over the Brewers.
Back.
That just felt kind of like a momentum win almost. Matthew
Hmm.
Liberatore came in and pitched 5 scoreless, and then Paul DeYoung a big 2-run homer. But it just felt like one of those games where we needed it
I know
almost.
we've been getting some of those wins that we weren't getting early in the season. Like a
Yes.
lot of the games in Boston, we came from behind and won, and then Milwaukee, we murdered them the first game, lost a close one the second, which I thought we could have won, and then last night we won against like a Cy Young pitcher. So very, very good to see.
No,
Just
it's great
so
to see Paul DeYoung with the homer off Corbin Burns. I
yeah,
mean,
he was. I kept seeing all these tweets. It was like Paul DeYoung the last 21 at bats, like 10 strikeouts, no hits. I was like,
yeah,
ooh, it's
yeah.
coming. And then he hit a home run. So hopefully he keeps
Well,
it
I
up.
didn't because he was batting 340 for a minute there, and then
Yeah,
last night I saw because I kind of I guess he bats in like the 6-7 hole, and I wasn't really paying attention too much because we were successful anyway. But he was down to like 277 before that homer, and so I was like, yeah, he must have had a pretty steep drought
yeah.
there to fall off. We have a big 4-game series coming up here with the Dodgers. Going
Mhm.
into this week, I was saying how it's a massive week for
We
us to kind
need
of
we play some tough teams coming up here.
yeah. So tonight it's Steven Matz and Tony Gonsolin. Gonsolin's still rolling. I thought it was kind of a fluke maybe last year, but he's got
Wait,
a 1.42 ERA.
Wainwright's pitching. They pushed everyone back.
That's right. I'm looking a day ahead. So it's Wainwright and Urias tonight,
All
right?
right, we have a chance.
And and then it's Gonsolin and Matz, Michaelis
Okay,
and
we can lose one of
Syndergaard.
those series. It's okay. We can win 3 out of
Yeah,
4.
yeah. I like Michaelis versus Syndergaard matchup, and the Sunday one's Showtime in my opinion.
Hmm.
Clayton Kershaw, Jack Flaherty, especially how Jack pitched last time out.
Yeah,
That's what we expect. That's what we want
I'm excited. I
from
think
Big Jack.
I don't know how Urias has pitched this year. I don't think he hasn't been as good,
It's not
right?
been great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we feast on lefties. So very excited. Hopefully we just annihilate them, and hopefully Wayno pitches good. Hopefully.
yeah. Wayno has showed he's only pitched 10 innings, but in both starts he showed really good at times, and then
Hmm.
I've also seen him. He's given up. He gave up back-to-back homers in Boston, and Urias. I mentioned he's struggled. He's been better as of late. He's down to a 3.61 ERA, but
Hmm.
Urias was like a 2.4 ERA last year,
Yeah.
and Cy Young type of pitcher. So
I will say
big series.
Wayno in his first start got hosed on that inning where he threw a curveball and it was right down the pipe and the
Yes.
umpire called it a ball, and also the guy should have been double play, but I guess replay doesn't work. Not bitter. Uh,
Yeah.
but
I saw you tweet that out for us. I
yeah, it was
remember that
bad.
now.
Um, there's one person I want to shout out on the Cardinals, and that is Paul Goldschmidt, just casually just doing his thing. Batting
Oh
306,
yeah.
7 homers, 23 RBIs, 395 on base, 919 OPS, just doing his thing. It's so
Oh
nice.
man. It's kind of just under, it's kind of, I guess we're numb to it
Hmm.
kind of thing, because I don't even, I mean, I realized the other day he was batting 315. I think he had 3 Ks yesterday, but I realized the other day with 315 that kind of just slid under the carpet
Hmm.
almost. Like I didn't even realize he was doing that.
And then Gorman's like
Um,
top. He's like top five in OPS in all of Major League Baseball or something.
as of 2 days ago, he was leading the National League in RBIs. He may still be, but as of last
Let me look.
episode, he was, which is
Let's look.
remarkable.
All right.
Um,
Oh, NL. He's not leading the NL. I mean, Major League Baseball. Pete
yeah,
Alonso's
he's like
leading the
seventh in
NL
baseball.
with
Okay,
36. Adolis Garcia
okay.
is 46.
Yeah,
He
we
is
don't want
batting
to. It
258 though.
makes me. It literally makes me sick to my stomach because I have Adolis on fantasy baseball, and Adolis has like 13 homers and 46 RBIs. And every update I get that he hits another homer because he had two yesterday.
Hmm.
It's disgusting. Um,
I like
before
our
we move
guys
on
though.
to before we move on to our surprise and disappointments, I have to hear your take on the Yankees situation because I made a video about it. Talked about it last episode. How do you feel about the Domingo Herman and the Aaron Judge situation?
Well, Domingo Herman was for sure cheating, and he's a very bad
That was
cheater as
obvious.
it was on his pants. Um, Come on. It's just everyone who tries to get away with something is just dumb. That's why all
I
the
know.
smart people are doing really good because they're know how to get away with not kidding. Aaron Judge, I don't think he was cheating. Like if you can figure out what the guy's throwing by just using your head and
Yeah.
eyes, like that's not cheating. That's just being smart. Like they weren't
Hmm.
using a TV in the center field and banging a trash can
Hmm.
like some teams.
We've seen that
Um,
before. Yeah.
I don't know why they would bang a trash can, but I don't know. I don't think he was. It's like in high school baseball, if you're on second base and you figure out the catcher's signs and you do like I think we did closed fist would be like fastball, and then
Hmm.
like open or something, or like hand on the knee or something would be off speed. So I don't think so. I think they just figured out something, and maybe it's just seeing like looking over there to see if like the person who figured out on the bench was like giving him the signal or something.
Well, what I heard was he was kind of looking, or what he said actually is what he was just looking over to see what they were chirping towards Manoa in the moment. But I kind of is there no angle that we can see what the dugout's doing? That
Yeah,
I guess that's my thing is
yeah.
that clears everything up if we can just see what they're doing.
Well, it's
Then
the Yankees.
um,
They probably paid off the guy not to show him because they were actually cheating.
you're gonna tick off some Yankees fans
Yeah,
right now
I don't care. I'll tick
because
off
we
some
already
more
had a
New York
couple.
fans. Another shout out, Lars Nootbaar. Just saying. I know Brandon,
It's so
whatever his face's name's playing good, but hey, he's playing just as good as him, so they're equals.
it's so funny. After we made that video, after we had that episode, made that video and posted it, and it kind of, kind of got around. I've been keeping up with Newt Bar versus Nemo harder than any other
I did. I
storyline this
literally looked
season.
at Nemo's stats the other day, and I was like looking at honestly like identical. Both of the guys are like
Yeah.
identical. So
Yep.
Newbar, come on,
And
keep hitting.
Nimmo was batting like 340 there for a minute, and I was like, oh crap. And now he's down to like 306 or 304, which is still great. But
I will say Newbar's played less games and almost has the same WAR. So that's all I gotta say.
I love how Nootbaar's been playing, man. I love it. Both
Does
leadoff
he have a
guys
candy
too.
bar in Japan? No.
Does he have 1 million followers on Instagram? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But we have 2 disappointments and 2 surprises, good surprises so far this year. So let's start with the player disappointment. What you got, Zach? Who's your
uh,
player biggest disappointment? Because it's like I have to mention it's like a quarter of the way through the season. That's why I kind of wanted to do this. Because at the 40 game mark, you finally get an idea, I guess, of
yeah.
what teams are.
Kind
It
of
can
check
kind of
out
turn
the
around,
guy's
obviously.
stats. My disappointment, I'm pulling up his stats right now, is Julio Rodriguez.
Ooh, that's a good
He's
one.
batting 211. A guy who was thought to be a MVP candidate. He has 7 homers, has some power. He's played 41 games, so basically all the games. 21 RBIs. And his on base percentage is 278. That's not that great. His OPS is under 700. That's also not good.
Really
His
bad.
OPS plus is 86. Let me see what his WRC plus, because that's what everyone loves now. Fan graphs popped right up for me. Come on, computer. Don't freak out and kick me out. Ooh, that's rough. WRC plus of 87, when last year he had a WRC plus of
Jeez.
146. Uh,
Wow.
Yikers. That's not good. Yeah, he's not been
Yeah,
good.
I
But
might
he
have
has a
mentioned him
1
last
point. He has a
episode.
decent WAR just because his defense has been good. So
Okay.
on Fangraphs, he has a .7 WAR. On Baseball Reference, he has a 1.1. I don't know how they calculate it different, but because I don't know how you would. But
Yeah.
yeah, not great.
Offensively, he's not been good at all.
Striking out almost
And
30% of the time too.
kind of a low key MVP candidate come into the season. There
Mm-hmm.
were some talks in there. Sophomore slump maybe, because
Mm-hmm.
that's not who he is. He's gonna get out of this. Maybe not even this year. It's some year. He's
Yeah.
gonna get back right. You would think. My disappointment is actually not having an awful season, but I had really high expectations for him. That's Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves. The other day I was
Mm.
thinking I haven't heard about, I heard about the Braves being very
Yeah.
successful, and I've watched them, and Acuna has been an MVP so far, which
Oh, he's
was my
been
MVP pick to start the year.
ridiculous.
So I'm feeling pretty good about my Acuna
I
MVP pick.
don't even remember what mine was.
But Austin Riley, I hadn't heard much about him, and so I looked at his numbers here, and he has 7 homers, 21 RBIs, a 734 OPS, and I think he's batting like 246. So nothing that really pops off, catches your eye or pops off the charts or anything. Um, but obviously, I would think he would finish with his 30 and 90, 270, 280 average. The Braves are going to be World Series contenders, but not an MVP caliber season that I thought Austin Riley might be in the conversation for.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's also another guy who I'm. Everyone's like, oh, he's like the best third baseman. Yeah, no. Also, another
yeah.
guy who sucked as a third baseman, Manny Machado.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nolan
So
Arenado
yeah, I was
hasn't
gonna.
played great, but he's heating up, and he's
No,
number one.
he's
Also,
red
another
hot.
guy kind of
Uh,
man. I'm just thinking of names. Uh, my boy Jose Ramirez. He's like not. He's doing better, like
yeah.
decent, but he can do better.
Definitely. Though not living up to his normal standard either. Moving on to the disappointment of teams. Um, there's quite a few you can throw in here, but who's
There's
your
yeah.
most disappointing?
I put obviously us, but I'll pick someone
Yeah,
else
sadly.
because I was looking at all the teams that should be good. We have by far the worst record.
Yeah. Yep.
Some other teams, I put kind of two, um, and that is San Diego. They're 20 and 24, and
Mhm.
I put Seattle. They're one game over under 500, but their pitching staff was supposed to be like amazing, and they've
Yep.
they're just not doing great. And then San Diego, they get all those all those like really good players there, and yeah, they're playing. San Francisco has a better record than them. They're 20-23.
That's crazy.
But
That's crazy. San
nuts.
Francisco just finds a way, man. I mean, I know
Yeah.
they're not going to have a great year, but they're going to be around 500. I bet they just find a way.
Yeah, I
I
think so
didn't
too.
put San Diego only because I didn't have the high expectations. They are disappointing from what I thought they would be, but I
Yeah.
didn't think they would be elite because I don't trust their pitching. I
Mm,
don't know what it is.
yeah.
Everybody's really high on their pitching, but I don't. Joe Musgrove and you Darvish is obviously either elite or not very good at all.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground for you. My disappointing team. I've talked about the Cardinals. Obviously, we've talked about the Cardinals. I've talked about the White Sox and how they've been disappointing. But my most disappointing team. Now, the White Sox are actually probably my most disappointing team because they've just been awful. But the Philadelphia Phillies are 20-23,
Mm,
and I should have put this player as my disappointing player because Trey Turner has been very mid, just average there for
mm.
Philly. Batted 262 in their leadoff spot. Schwarber, who we all know is going to bat like 210 with 40 homers, he's batting
Yeah.
175. So it's even worse than for him. Bryce Harper
Uh,
obviously has just now gotten
makes me
back.
happy.
You and
They're
I
they're
talked
kind of
about
like
how
me for San
how
Diego. I thought they were gonna just not do
yeah.
good.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, it's a valid point because we've talked about, and you and I agree, Aaron Nola's overrated.
Mm,
And it's showing right now. And then Zach Wheeler's kind of been not as great. And that leads me to a side point that I have to make. And I want to know how you feel about it. I didn't write enough down on this because I've
mm,
been kind of thinking about this over time, and I should have wrote it down for this episode. But do you think the WBC had any effect on some guys? Because I'll throw out just a couple names off the top of my head that are struggling that played in the WBC. Trey Turner, Pete Alonso has a lot of homers, but he's batting like 229 or
yeah.
whatever. Arenado until now. Wainwright has had 10 innings, so I'm not going to really count him. If we want to stay with the Cardinals, Andre Palante hasn't been what we thought he would be so far. Um, there was other names that I thought about too the other day where I was like, they play the WBC and they're not living up to the hype. Or they've had a really slow start to the year. So how do you think that had any impact on these guys?
I'm gonna say no just because I love the WBC so much.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would. Like they played super competitive um innings, probably got better reps in spring training. And Trey Turner
Sure.
was playing amazing. Maybe like the pitching wasn't as great a caliber as Major League at all times because you're facing like the Czech team had guys with legit jobs playing, which was very funny. I
Uh-huh.
know no the US didn't play them, but I don't know. I just like Arenado's heating up now. I think they're still
Mhm.
good players. I don't know what their deal is. Maybe just trying to get back and maybe just it's like a rhythm thing, being away from the team and just trying to get in
Yeah.
a because also this is Trey Turner's first year in Philly, so he kind of missed the whole spring training as well.
And there's pressure there for him. I mean, in Philly, you have to perform or we saw Goldie here in St. Louis about what 260 his first year here, and then
Hmm.
he got comfortable and turned it on. I think if the WBC did have an impact on these guys, I don't think it would be shown at the beginning of the year. I think it would be shown at the end of the year, playing those high
Yeah.
leverage games. I think you're right. I think if anything, if it is an issue, it's got to be rhythm and just not
Hmm.
being around all the guys during spring training, getting acclimated and used to being with the squad after the off season. But no, I thought that was interesting. I'm gonna write some down for next episode and bring it in because there was more names I saw where I was like, hey, they play in the WBC and they've not been living up to the hype. But we can move on to our biggest surprises so far, good surprises. So starting with the player surprise for you, who is it?
Um, obviously my Cardinal one, Nolan Gorman, but
Mhm.
because he's playing crazy. And then two guys that are kind of under the radar. Um, one is Yandy Diaz.
Well, he's been great. He's been so good.
He, I was looking at stats like leaderboards, kind of figuring this all out. Honestly, kind of crazy numbers. Like but I'll give him to you. Batting 321. Played 39 games, so basically all the games. Has 10 home runs, which is almost his like career high. His career high is 14, so maybe he's finally unlocked that power. 24 RBIs. His walk percentage is like 14%. His strikeouts 15, so that's really low. On base 429, and then this is where it gets kind of crazy. His WRC plus is 187, which is ridiculous.
That is crazy. Because remember,
His
he was a
WAR
big
is
on base
2.
guy. He was a big on base guy and didn't
Yeah.
have the power. And you've seen him before. He's a massive dude.
And his
So
OPS is sorry, there's a bug flying around me. His OPS is over 1. I'm doing the math because Fangraphs doesn't have it. But good thing it's just adding two numbers together. His OPS is 1.02, so pretty good.
man, that's a good
And
pick
then
there.
another one I had was kind of an under radar guy. I'm gonna pull his up real quick.
Yeah.
Is my gosh, come on. Is Jonah Himes.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
realize he was playing this good until I kind of looked. But he was really known as like a defensive catcher. And he's still a really good defensive catcher. He's batting 308, 6 bombs, 31 RBIs, on base of 372. His WRC plus is 144, and his defense is really, really good. And his WAR is like 1.9. So he is playing very good. And his OPS is
He's also
883.
helping that Rangers team that also
Yeah.
could probably be in that surprise
Yeah.
conversation.
They're first in their division.
Yeah, they've been really good. My surprise is who I mentioned last episode, and I said he was a rookie, and I don't think he qualifies because he played 58 games last year, and I think 9 the year before. But he plays for the A's, the awful A's team. That's Brent Rooker, their left fielder.
Yeah.
11 homers, 30 RBIs, a 1.012 OPS, so a 10-12 OPS, and that's I kind of mentioned him like I said last episode, and I think I listed his numbers off last episode too, but he's a guy that kind of popped off. He's 28 years old, so he's older. Is still a young guy there. Not young as in not a lot of experience so far in the MLB, but he's probably going to be a name that's going to be tossed around during that trade deadline, and
Oh, for
probably
sure.
going to end up getting a good package for him because he's had a good year. But our surprise, did we do our surprise teams yet?
We didn't do our teams yet.
Okay. What's your biggest surprise team?
Mine is, let me find the, I put Baltimore. They're
Okay.
28 and 16, which I don't think a lot of people expect them to be playing this good because their pitching is they don't have like the greatest pitching staff. And then I also put Arizona because they're playing really good as well. Two young teams, two of like the young up and coming teams, I would say, with a bunch of young talent.
Mhm.
So yeah, Baltimore and the D-backs.
No, I like those for sure because I did think, and I thought you did too, that Baltimore was going to be good this year, but I didn't expect this good this fast.
No, I
Thought it was
thought
going to
they'd
be like
be
this
kind of
at
what
this
the
point.
Yankees are right now, like 5 games over
Yeah.
500, maybe hang around
Yep.
500.
Yep. I agree. My biggest surprise is the AL Central leading the awful AL Central, by the way, but the AL Central leading Minnesota Twins. I talked about them also last episode, and their pitching staff has been elite. And I don't know if it's sustainable. Sonny Gray has been up and down in his career. Joe Ryan is still young, but he's again, I said it last episode, he's not shown me anything that said he's not going to be successful. But the
Yeah.
Twins are sitting at 24 and 20. Buxton has been up and down, like really streaky this year because he had a tremendous start and then went over his 25 stretch, and then got a couple hits in the series against LA. But no, the Twins are my biggest surprise so far, and I do think. I mean, why can't they win the AL Central at
Yeah.
this point? I
I
mean, the
almost
AL
put
Central is that
Cleveland
bad.
as one of my biggest disappointments because I thought they would run away with the AL Central, and they're
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
4 games under
Yep, I
500 right
agree.
now.
I do have to mention that our NFL predictions are probably going to have to be starting up here soon
Yeah.
because it's summertime. So we got to
We
probably
may have to
be
start doing
rattling those
some
out.
position rankings,
Yep. Yep.
do all that fun stuff.
Um, and
Whew.
then did you have anything
NFL and
PGA
college football
champion?
coming up. Ooh.
It's definitely your time. So my time of the year has passed, the winter time, NBA season, NHL season, but it's like it's your time coming here. It's all college
Oh,
football, it's all NFL football.
baseball, college. College, you watch
Did
college
you
football all day Saturday. Turn on Red Zone at 1 for me, Eastern. Sit on your couch for 7 straight hours because there's no commercials. You try to be like Scott Hansen and not go to the bathroom. See if you can do it with them. It's the
mhm.
life.
um there was something else I was going to say about the NFL,
The
but I
schedule
can't remember.
released. There's the draft. A lot of stuff's been happening.
Oh, well, what I was going to say actually was in about 2 weeks, all we're going to have is MLB to talk about. So we do kind of have to cover some NFL to keep it not just a baseball podcast.
Also,
But
everyone's like going crazy because Will Levis threw one football in training camp. He had a video like
mhm,
that before college, and look how his college career went. Just saying.
yep, yep. So did you have anything about I mentioned earlier the PGA Championship? Did you have anything on that you wanted to discuss?
Oh yeah, it's going on right now. Um, Bryson DeChambeau's winning, which is one of my least favorite golfers in the world. He's so annoying. But
Mhm.
yeah, the second major should be exciting. Um, there's just a lot of really good golfers. I'll kind of give some of the top odds. John Rahm, obviously, the top guy. I don't know where he is right now. I didn't see his name, but he's the number one guy in the world. Won the Masters. Just dominating basically. I think where is he? He must have not played great today. Not a lot of people are playing great today. There's a lot of guys pretty far over par. Okay. I hope he played. Okay. I still don't see his name. Well, I have
Tiger
no
Woods was
idea
out of
where
this, right?
he's.
Because
What'd you say?
d- didn't Tiger Woods have some type of injury that he's not competing in this?
Oh yeah, he had like he had something wrong. He's gonna be out for a while. But
Mhm. So
there's a
bummer.
lot of solid golfers because all the golfers are in this, so all the live golfers are playing in this too. Like Scotty Scheffler's, him and Rahm had the best odds. Scotty's a stud. Then you got Rory, who's honestly has been struggling pretty recent. He finished 1 over today. Um, DeChambeau, I don't think his odds were great, but he's leading at 4 under. Scotty's second at 3 under. Some guy named Corey Connors I never heard of has 3 under. Thomas Peters is 3 under and he's through 15 so far. Dustin Johnson's up there at 3 under. He's through 12. See if there's any other big names up at the top. Victor Hovland 2 under. Um, yeah, not a lot of guys under
I was
par.
in
What were you
the
saying?
little golf that I watched last year. Will Zalatoris was a guy. What?
That cracked me up.
What?
And the little golf
What's
I
that?
watched last year. uh,
Well, I was looking at names here, and I remember I was thinking there was a
I
guy
think
that stood out to me
he's
that
out for the year. He hurt his back at the Masters.
I was gonna say, yeah, he had some kind of back surgery. Yeah, Will Zalatoris was the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Oh
he
man,
he was a
so
stud. But there's so
how
many
long
like
is this tournament?
solid golfers though that can just win it. There's so many like good young golfers, and I really think golf's a lot more popular than people think. There's a lot of um young people playing golf too, like because I think a lot
Yeah.
of social media like foreplay, barstools, golf, and then good, which is big golf. You see all these people wearing good hats everywhere at the golf course. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's exciting. It's
Mm-hmm.
always the first round's kind of but Saturday and Sunday, that's when you really start to figure out who's going to be in contention, and
Yep.
I'm hoping for like a close um, match or close race for first on Sunday because that's always fun. Because the Masters, John Rahm just blew the doors open and dominated.
I'm sure you're going to follow the French Open for tennis coming up here too, right?
Oh, I will.
The NBA and tennis, two things that I love that you don't.
I just don't like watching the NBA. Will I watch? I'm debating if I want to watch the Lakers Nuggets, see the big Cerrito play.
Do it.
I mean, what time does it start?
It's 8:30 your time.
It is on. It is on ESPN, and PGA Championships on right now, so it may just come on after, or I'll just watch the Cardinals, or
Right.
neither.
Well, it was great to finally have a normal episode, an actual episode where I can label it an episode, 86 here,
Yeah.
a numbered episode. But everybody have a great rest of your, I guess, weekend at this point.
Yeah, tomorrow's
And yeah, we
Friday.
will be back. We'll be back to start the week next week with another one. Yeah, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.